Okay, I managed to start the stream. Not from the beginning, but let's see. Okay, I expected this opening from catask. 97 is... I don't think that's main move. I think something like b5 is usually played. 97. I mean, it doesn't lose anything immediately, but I don't see where this knight is going next. Maybe on c8. Knight c4 is maybe a move in this position. Let's think if knight c4. Okay, this also interesting one. So what if c6? Takes queen. I mean, knight b5 you can take and sacrifice the piece on c6. The knight on e7 suddenly is not that bad. But I'm not sure. I mean, black will lose a piece in this case. It seems like. Yes. Oh yes. Yes, that's true. So what if a6 in this position? Knight c4 is maybe threatening, or like e takes d5 maybe. That's quite a weird move. I think it's this exchanging these pawns is generally what white wants in such position, because it opens the diagonal for the queen on b3. Just f3 probably. And white can play queen b3, but I think playing f3 in this position is kinda safer. After knight e6. Yes, probably. Queen a4, maybe 2. I mean, it's just black has very weak light squares in this position. I think d takes e4 was a bad move, and maybe the position was not good already. Okay, let's see what GrandLapin prepared as white. Not knight f3 e3. That's kind of relieving. Yes, and not that catask played some surprising opening, he actually plays this regularly. Or yeah, d5 or e5. Also there is a nice move. Bishop f8. A5. Mm, yes. Yeah, black is already... Black's position already started looking bad. Yes, if you take, then bishop check. Well, maybe you can just play king f8 and pretend that the position is okay, but it's really not. At the very least, white can win a pawn by taking on e6, for example, with the f knight, and this knight is also strong. It's not clear what's black counterplay here. Maybe black can play something like h5, h4, trying to break up the white's king position, but okay, so that's quite a greedy move to not lose any material. Maybe that's right. Yes. I mean, knight d6 is usually not a move you make at such position. Usually white wants to keep some pressure on d6. Like if black plays e5 at some point, knight can jump on e6 with tempo, so it's not clear how black will entangle in this position. So white can maybe do some other slow plan, like moving the pawns on the queen side, like a4, b4 maybe. I don't know. h3 just to prevent any possible bishop h3 ideas in the future. f5. I'm not exactly sure why I want to play knight d6. Where is this knight going? Maybe he just wants to win another pawn, but I think this knight is strong enough to not do moves like that. White could probably just, I don't know, maybe play f4 and then e4, rook e1, somehow try to attack along the e file. Yeah, because yes, there is no dark square bishop on the black side, so it's logical idea to... The only problem is that yeah, White should only watch out for the knight g3 move. At the moment it's not possible because bishop takes f4. But in general this position should be quite easily win. Oh, but now knight g3 is bishop takes. Is this? I'm not sure that was the best way to convert this. Well, the knight can try to block the second rook. It's probably still winning for white because it will be hard to block two files by this knight. So, like, white somehow escapes checks now and then start to push this pawn. I think this is still winning for, oh, well, rook e1. After rook e1, this knight has no other moves. And then you can start push d5. Well, probably you can do this as well. Okay, the same opening so far. But I hope we either see how knight e7 is good or not see this move anyway. Or a6. Yeah, every player is allowed. Yeah. Yeah, you cannot analyze with the computer, but you can analyze it manually. Yeah, it doesn't seem like GrandLapin knows how to play this. So you cannot you cannot take on f3 because queen goes to g4. Then queen probably goes to b3 on the next move. And black will lose. Black at least loses after queen b3. Black loses pawn and the piece, and maybe bishop b4. Or maybe bishop b4, but even after bishop b4, c takes b4. It will be hard. For example, if black would have played c6, then they can't give a check with the queen on a5 because there was a hook on a6. In this position on the ninth move, when I looked at with Stockfish, bishop f8 looked like the best move that Stockfish think is here, but in general this position is there are some options that black can do, like f5, and yes. Bishop takes bishop can't take because knight d6, so white should. Yes, taking a takes b5 was natural. And again, black's position looks like they're basically two pawns down, because white can win one pawn with knight g5, and also they have a second knight invaded. So this will be hard to do something for black in this position. Maybe 98 at this point. What black does? Oh yes, 97. But in this exact position, 97 already doesn't look so pretty, because after knight takes f6, you can take on the e5. So if knight e6 here, well, GrandLapin is not in rush to take the pawn on f6. Oh, but black has, black has one piece more. So who is that? Oh, okay. So white. I thought black doesn't want to play h5. But maybe the timing is really good. Because if white takes now, then black probably has time to move rook king g8. No. Yeah, this position is not so easy to win for white, probably. Yeah, there are some rook sacrifices, but in general, white needs to find something concrete here. Second h4. Yeah, this should be a win. Now you can play rook c7 because then black takes the bishop, but rook f6, yes. Okay, d5, probably a good idea, considering how previous two game went. Knight f6 is a possible move, but maybe not in this position because he already put the bishop on g4. Why black actually did that? I don't understand this move. So f6, knight e6. Maybe knight e6, queen c8. And queen c8, take on f5, but quick. But then queen h3 then, no? Oh, no. Quick. d5, yes. Queen b6. White is better than queen c8. Well, I guess Yeah, I guess white have some trouble with untangling on the c2 square. And if you play you knight c5, but that bishop takes on c2 with check now. Yeah, white can give a couple of checks, but the king can. Oh, if king goes to c8 and knight d8, so the king can't go on c8. No, black takes on c2 with the bishop. That's the main threat of black at this point. I had a question why could the king go to e7 maybe after some checks. Yeah, they're probably bad because bishop g5. But why white decided to stop checking though? Yes, just take on c2. There was also it takes d4, but it's probably not good. Yeah, but okay. Suppose that knight takes g7 now, and we get a pretty equal endgame, I guess. Rook and pawn against two pieces. Yeah, this may end in a draw. Yeah. Now it looks like white is winning. Yeah, but the king wants to go on f7, I guess. After pawn moves to d7. Then probably black has some play after that. And it's quite time trouble here. So rook f5 is threatening. f6. Nice. I don't believe this. I don't believe this works against GrandLapin. But maybe. what white should play here? Queen b3 maybe. Don't remember, in this line white at some point had queen b3, queen takes b7, but I don't remember exactly where, and I'm also quite skeptical that this is a good way to push. There are some other moves maybe. Queen a4, b5. What next? Knight takes h2, suggested in the chat. Actually, I don't see how white will punish for that. Maybe something along the lines of queen a4, queen a3, but that's not that bad. Oh yes. Yes. But the one who loses this match is out. It starts only in top 8. And this is top 16. Oh, okay. Okay. Bishop takes g3 is usually played in such positions. No, I don't think that queen takes h4 works because bishop h5 takes and queen h5. But that may become a threat in the future, like if the white for example plays bishop b5 check. Knight f6 maybe. So for example, if black plays at some point knight g4, white takes with the bishop, then maybe queen takes h4 works. I'm not quite sure that it works because white king has some 2x2 square where he can walk. Looks like knight g4 is really dangerous. Knight g4, bishop takes g4, queen takes h4. Oh no, there is also bishop h6. This doesn't work. So maybe g5, then f takes e6, bishop f5. No, then black loses because queen e2. This position looks bad for black. Queen e7 maybe. Maybe bishop g5 was even better. I'm not sure. f6. Yeah, black resigned. Okay, so far white wins all the games. e3. As far as I remember, that's not there is some problem with this move. But I learned this line quite a while ago, so I don't remember exactly what the problem was. Hysterix. On 97, queen a5, and then I don't think this knight can win much. I mean, it can take it on c8 at some point, but this is just a piece for the invaded knight, so I think knight c7 should be played. Yes, and probably you can castle, but the queens go off, it seems, after queen a5. Or the queen can somehow go to the other side. I don't see how. Maybe bishop a6 though in this position. But then knight d3. Oh no, knight d3 is not a move that black would like to play. Because then bishop takes d3. And in the end, black will lose a piece. Yes, maybe this is not that bad. And why is this good for black? I don't think that black will want this. I'm thinking maybe b6. So this bishop cannot take, for example, on c8 because the knight then goes to d3. Maybe on b6 white can just play d3. Yes, that still looks like white has some advantage. What if after d3 black plays bishop a3? And probably b3. If you take the knight, I suppose queen f4. No, if queen f4, then the bishop can take on it on e3. It's queen a4, queen h5 check, g6, queen h6 is impossible, so But again, it looks like white will end up a piece, because they can just take with the bishop on c8, or like that. Yes, not up a piece, but just with a bit better position. Yes. Yes. This is getting yeah, rook g8 was a bit premature. It looks like black had something there though. I mean, some counterplay at least. But white winning first is continued. Yes, and e takes e5 is typical idea for white in these positions. I'm not sure that c5. c5 looks like misclick. I thought about what if white didn't take the queen but played b4 instead. Black's queen was not in a good position there. This position still looks playable for black. The f file is dangerous, but if you were so bishop goes to e2 and no, this looks just like a winning endgame for white. But you have this annoying bishop on e2, so it will take a while to convert. Maybe black wants to create some counterplay on the king side, but they have less pawns. So I'm not exactly sure how they will do that. In f. Oh, rook e1, bishop a6. In this position, white maybe had at some point the idea a4, rook a3, and then placing rook somewhere on f3, e3, or d3, but this will need to exchange some pawns. Yes, for example, e4 right now. A4, sorry. Rook a3 and rook f3 is an idea. And black, yeah, black at this point can try to place some rooks on the f file. They can double the rook along the f file. If they don't double the rook along the f file, then it will be hard to invade, because white can always take the bishop on e2. Why didn't he play rook a check? Rook takes c2. Is this possible? I thought that at least deserved some thinking. It might have been a draw, taking on c2. Maybe still is, but I don't like that white has a potentially a passed pawn. Rook takes c2 really looks like a draw now. I'm not sure. Oh no, maybe in this case white can. No, it's not winning for black. Black can block, but okay, very dangerous situation for catask and playing f6. Okay, what can I say about this position? It's still better for white. Black has extra pawn, but this invaded knight is quite strong, and black cannot castle. They play this quite fast, like as if they know this line very well. But I think black will have large trouble along the f file. I mean, like if bishop, for example, h3, then white castles, and how will you defend the f file? If bishop h4 at this point, then bishop takes f5 maybe a thing. Queen f8. But playing such moves like queen f8 when you have this knight invaded. If white manages to somehow chase away this bishop on e7, then and then the knight can go to f6. This will be devastating. So for example, okay, bishop e3 should be played if white doesn't want to get checkmate. But knight e8, knight f6 will be the following moves. If bishop returns to e7, maybe something even like queen d6 works. No, it doesn't work, because black can give up the queen for the knight on f6. Bishop takes f5. But can I play king h7? maybe just still bishop takes f5, and after exchanging one pair of rooks, another rook is incoming, and just checkmating you. h4, like a desperate attempt to counterattack. h4, bishop takes f5, takes... No, I don't think that works. Yes, looks like GrandLapin wins this match. I don't see any defense. Versus bishop takes f5. I probably never saw a match that ended with almost all wins of white. Something like that was in my match versus Xerensis, maybe. But I remember I could have won Xerensis with black still. And this match was just white domination, and even that game that ended in a draw, it should have probably ended with white win. Yes, I'm trying to understand what, for example, in the last game, on the 6th move, white can play d4 or e3 after bishop c5. What is the difference between two? Remember that e3 for some reason is not as good. Who starts to play? Oh, that's interesting. We can switch to them. Okay. That's AWC, right? Not some training game. Okay. So far this is the theory. And yes, that's not a bad position for black. I maybe should change Stream title. I think this game will be a bit easier to commentate because players are not that strong that I don't understand their moves. And also probably not so heavy theoretical. Okay, so white has extra pawn here, but what black has two bishops and a bit better development because they already castled and even moved king h1. So they will push f pawn at some point. Yes. Yeah, I'd like to remove this bishop out of pawn attack, but there is no good square where can you place it. So probably should not. Maybe black can play d5 because that's a useful move anyway, and after that you can place the bishop somewhere. White doesn't waste a tempo for taking it. Exchanging queens, I don't think that's a very good idea for black in such position. Probably they can play g6 in here, so that white will need to waste a tempo. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the idea was so that after f5, white can't play f4, so that queen takes f4, f4. If you play f5 immediately, then white can play f4. Maybe that was the idea. I'm not sure that queen g4 was forced though. I don't like c takes b4, to be honest. I think white doesn't have tempo for that. For example, some stuff like no, but black can't really move like queen a5 check because they still have the pin on g7. So at some point black should play g6. Yeah. Yes, but now if g6, then the pawn on f4. But that still looks good for black. Probably if maybe white castling works though. If castling gets white out of trouble here, then looks like white is just winning. b3. What black can play next? Maybe a rook a e8. What? They allow bishop takes a2. Oh, yes, that's why he allowed that. Nice. Now king h8. I think king h8 and then queen g5 was somehow non-consequential, because when you play king h8 in that kind of position, it's because you expect white to play queen h5 at some point, and then they will not have a tempo on f7. So, and when you play with queen on g5, then you don't expect white to play on h5 probably, only to exchange it. Knows how to refute knight h2. Black can probably continue like white have played knight takes g7, and then d5 is logical. Maybe even e takes d3. I remember GrandLapin plays something like that. E takes d3. Oh, but GrandLapin plays knight f2 actually, and in that position you preserve the rook on h8 that can attack along the g file after that. So maybe maybe black should attack more directly here. White can take on b5 probably. I would probably take on b5. What do you think? Bishop. Well, what if just bishop d7 to prevent queen a4? But then white plays knight a3, I guess, and tries to exchange this bishop. So it looks better for white, but of course it's not. It's knight c6, queen a4, Maybe rook b8 maybe after that. Bishop a6. I don't know, can't white after bishop a6 exchange lots of stuff? The queen, no, queen a5 is not a move. No, if queen a5, then knight takes, and you have much trouble as white playing against the queen. Okay, what if queen a4 now? I expected queen a4 check, to be honest. Because after c6, queen a5, there was some trouble with black. And the position is quite complicated, but I still think that white has an advantage here. G4. What? Oh. D takes e3. Maybe. Let's at least create some threats like e3. I don't like queen g7 because of knight e8. And d takes e3 probably has some merit to it. Because I don't see an easy way to chase the queen. On h7 the queen does nothing in my view. It defends from white queen if something got exchanged here, but if you're going to exchange queens, then it's just one endgame for white. Okay, c4. Maybe black wants at some point to play queen d3 after opening up everything here. I would take the bishop probably. Oh, this bishop is annoying. Okay, black will be glad to have a draw in this position. And now maybe black can be glad to have a win. Okay, Hysterix made something strange. That was an ouch. Knight a3, yes. d5 was probably a better move than e4, but that's okay. I don't remember. d5 maybe is played after e4, but then in this position black can play d5. Knight g5 takes, bishop g5, knight f6. e5? What if knight g5? Seriously? Oh, Fabinho style. Lose the queen in the opening and then... Yes. The transposition in a hard way. Yes, that looks not as bad as it was. Queen takes g2. Maybe even better. What if white plays g3 and then h3? Well, it probably can, but I don't like the resulting position. And this... I mean, queen g5. Oh no, knight takes g5 is not that good. But I mean, even if queen takes g2, then the problem is that white still has this invaded knight. Yeah, that's a very bad position for black if they give up the queen and do not eliminate this knight on f7. So they probably still really should exchange the queen for this knight, maybe queen h6. But it looks losing anyway. e5, if e5 was maybe a misclick, I don't know. Just bishop h3. I don't see a mate. king is yeah. Yes. There is a bishop. Maybe there was a bishop e7 move, so that if bishop d7 checks and king f8, and looks like it. So queen c5 doesn't work because of f takes e4. No, not e3, d4. I would love hard, so hard if it is 6-0, they say in the chat. Oh, knight a6. It's very similar to knight c6, but there were some differences. Taking the queen, is it a good move? Or the knight e4. Yeah, queen f6 and bishop takes f6. But black will recover this queen, obviously. It's kind of theory. I remember there was something similar in if you play knight c6 on the second move, not knight a6. But they can very likely transpose. Well, it doesn't look bad for black at this point. Looks like just quite equalish position. Maybe even a bit better for black. And first till 5.5. Just losing this would be very tilty. This position looks like a very boring draw. But black has a bit of advantage, to be honest. Two bishops can create some nasty threats if the position is opened. I guess now white should take the bishop. Yes, you get an invaded bishop, but at least you don't have two invaded bishops. I don't like bishop b5. Yes. So and bishop e2 probably, and that's just a draw. Hysterix maybe tries to play for a win in such position, but I don't think that's a good idea. Yes. Yes. B Yeah, this may be winning for black. F5 and you have some. Yeah. I mean, that was drawn quite easily if Hysterix didn't try to push for a win in such position. But it's really not good to push for a win when it's not you with the extra bishop. Was this a good idea for black? I think. Stop. Is black losing here? No. Yeah. I thought maybe a3. Yes. What was that? I didn't realize what happened. Yes. Hysterix did not win, Natso lost. Natso just want to make it more interesting. Because if he won the previous game, it would be 4-0 and... Maybe he lost because of time pressure. No, I don't think that you can play. Okay, what was played? H4 is a bit suspicious move in this opening. Knight E4 or knight G4? Knight. Yes, knight G4. White could probably defend just by D4 against knight D4. Oh no, that's taken with check, C3, and I don't know, D5, then bishop D7. No, D4. Oh, what if D4? I don't think that taking D4 with the knight is a good idea. Bishop C5 there, yeah. And the F4 pawn is quite handy here. But even after that, white has F3, bishop F2 check, king F1, and black still has trouble on D7 square. Okay, now Natso decided not to do this. But what if bishop F5, bishop C5 here? D4. Maybe you can play D5 first. C6. And what is the threat of C6? Queen B6. I would prefer to play black here. White's position is kinda cramped. maybe play king f1 for white, because you cannot castle because of queen takes h4, but you still need to unpin this knight. Some prophylaxis against knight b5 at some point, but that's... I think black should have had a better move. Maybe just they want to, if white takes on f4, then queen f7. But oh, what if just h6? Okay, finally Natso plays king f1. So the knight is going to b5. Oh no, you can't. Well, you can't play knight b5 still. That's unfortunate. So bishop e1. Oh, that's bad for white. Let me see an epic comeback from Hysterix, if that continues that way. Okay, bishop b4, c3, bishop takes, queen a4, b5, or knight c6, b5. And here we play d6 as far as I remember, just to not create weaknesses on c5. d1, c5 is a move here. Maybe there are some other moves. Knight h6. So c5, knight g5, king d8 is the main line, probably. What? You could have, after c5, black gets an endgame where they're a pawn down. Now they get an endgame where they're a rook down. I'm not sure that's... I think Natso could have thought a bit more in that position. There's plenty of time. So knight c3, maybe a4. Yes, maybe knight c3 was not a good move. Maybe knight a4 is okay. So you can play knight b4, knight takes, c5, rook c8. And king runs away to f1. Ah, no. Rook goes to c2 and takes on b2. That's complicated. Oh yeah, that's a good move. What does Natso do? Yes, but it's white's move. It's funny, but it looks like white still has trouble with opening the C file. Maybe they can just I don't know, king E1, king F1 to just run away from this dangerous C file. Okay, what if C4? Oh, but now white has, yes. Yes, because now white had bishop bit after C4, they didn't had it. Or maybe did. I think they had it even after C4, C3, bishop takes, rook C1, king E1, rook C2, king F1, rook takes A2, and white would still be up material after that. But okay, we have this position. No, I don't think it's not good for. Yeah, it's not good for black. Yeah, I misheard. Just after A4, blacks have really zero counterplay, or not zero. Maybe just E4, E takes F5, or if F4 then E takes D5. E4 looks like a good move. Okay, pawn takes. Yes, you can take the bishop, and white is in trouble, it seems. Maybe king F2. Maybe not in trouble. Because C3, pawn takes, and king F2. Probably bishop F1, yes, and then rook D8, rook D2. Yeah, this should be a mate. That match is completely not like catask GrandLapin. Here we winning positions end up somehow not winning at all. AC3. Yeah, yeah, knight d4 or knight b4, they're basically equivalent, because c takes d4 is the best move. That's some opening that crystal spams at least a lot. Now he switched to something else. D5 was not a good move. Should have played castles at this position. Hysterix. Oh. You have three. I mean, this you have 3 minutes to think in the opening. Why play so fast? Isn't here? A bishop g3, bishop d3. Oh, I think a4. It's hard to tell what the main move here is, but in my experience, a4 is the most unpleasant move. e5 is possible. And a takes b5 now. I think e6 is a bit better in this position. Because there are some ideas like c3, queen b3 later, so placing the pawn on e6 seems like a correct move. Why knight f5? Well, I think that knight f5 is not a correct move. But so queen c4. Yes, queen h4. Just exchanging queens. And actually after knight f5, black also had knight g4. Another interesting line. This knight is usually useful on d4 to annoy black with possible knight b5 threats. Knight f5 I don't think is a good move. Okay, knight is going to e7. Again, black plays very fast and allowing knight going to e7. I would at least think to find something better. Okay. Position is kinda equalish. In such endgame, maybe. Yeah, h4 made sense. h4, h5, and g4 maybe. Oh, knight d3. No, bishop takes e4. No, bishop cannot take on e4. Because then bishop takes g4, g2. Just rook b8, exchanging the rooks, and the pawn on a5 is unstoppable. Well, you can probably stop it with the knight, but then you just get an endgame without a pawn. Yeah. White resign. Natso just farmed Hysterix, Chronotalk says. Yeah, that was quite weird. Yes. There was... The second game was interesting, where there was that knight h2. I'm not sure where white went wrong in that game. That went really bad for Natso, as white. Just struggling the whole game to unpin the knight on c3. They don't Okay, let's end the stream then.